Okay, hello, a warm welcome back. Now in this video, I've just changed the layout slightly to help with a little bit more understanding. And what you have on the left is the Guide Core portal where we are making the portal on the right. And you can see this maybe if you can zoom in just here. We've got Guide Core on the left where I'm building something, and then you have XYZ School, which is what we put together in the last item, and that gives you the ubiquitous homepage we see here. But all these videos now, because what we're going to affect here on the left is going to have an effect on the item on the right here, so we're going to control the elements that we move between them and how we move between them. So now, say a typical situation where we work with schools, we're going to be in a situation where they may want to create their own subject. So in creating their own subject, typically, for example, we always recommend doing TA introduction. So that teaching assistants in a school have a really good experience, which makes a big difference about how long they will stay with you, what they'll like about you, what they'll say about you, and obviously shape the lives of young people in your organization. Now, when I start to make that here, I've got TA introduction, and just if we go to preview content, you're going to see here that if I've refreshed this, come into that, you see TA introduction now exists as a topic. And I'm going to keep going back to here to refresh different items. If you remember in the last video, we had the intro to guide, which is this top subject here, and now we've got TA introductions. Now you see it's completely empty. So the first thing I'm going to do in the topic is I'm going to say, maybe I'm going to be like, it's going to be your first week. And the next thing I might have in there is expectations. And then within expectations, I might have behavior policy. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend you do something like that. I'm just putting in what here. I don't recommend being really, really formal with people in the first instance because you're trying to make them comfortable first, but you do as you wish. It's your school, mine. So in the first week, the first thing I might learn about is routines. Okay, and so I've got to those items there. And as you see, if I refresh here, so that's when it comes through, you can see I've got expectations, I've got first week, and my sub-subjects are starting to show, or my subtopics, should I say, are starting to show, but I've got no videos. Now, obviously, we don't need a video necessarily for now, because what we're focusing on here, or at least we showed you kind of the video edition in this previous video. So what we're going to focus on here is how we then import a subject. So let's say the idea here being that we would like everything to be branded for ourselves and follow the place and structure and formula that we have. So if I go to create a subject, and I go to here, and this time I'm going to import a subject. And obviously, if you're looking to import a subject, really you would have had a code that allows you the teacher training access or the school access, because you can pull in any of our GCSE items if you want to support students or if you want to support people with basic literacy skills as they were going for their skills test, becoming teachers, or numeracy skills. And there's also the parent support courses, depending if you're making a platform for there. But the majority of what you may be drawing in is this teacher training item. Now, obviously, because I'm just going to come away from it to show you, because I'm doing a TA introduction course, the item that I might want to import here is I might want to import the complete developing as a teaching assistant. So I pull that in and I import it. And then you see it tells me that it was successfully imported. Now, this is sitting, as you can see, in another subject on its own. There you can see I've got introduction to guide, TA introductions, and developing as a teaching assistant. And if I refresh over here, all of a sudden now, it won't be, it's there. Developing as a teaching assistant, developing as a teaching assistant. Now, that's not where I want it. I want it to be part of my TA introductions course because that makes a lot more sense. I don't want people to kind of go down a route or a path and then have some divergence. So what I do to solve that problem is after I've imported a subject, I come across to this alias button here, and basically we're adding kind of like a link or an alias, just referring to something. So, and that's what we're going to do here, like a nickname for it. So I'm going to call this XYZ TA development. TA development. Obviously, XYZ there being the idea. That's my school, and then development being what I want the course to be called. It's completely up to me. Obviously, you can use the original title as well. But what I'll do now is I'll pick developing as a teaching assistant, and I will save it. And then what you'll see now is that over here, we have teacher development. It's actually put in. Obviously, I can change the ordering so it comes before or after. And again, if I refresh over here, you'll see now that I have the teacher development available to me as well. Now, that is an element that you would follow through and work with however you so wish and want, and you can start to build things there. But the problem comes is if I go back to my subjects, I still have developing as a teaching assistant there. So people may access the course in a way that I don't want them to. I want them to access it from TA introductions. And there you see it's currently there for me. So it's the same thing. It's going to the same place, but the element here is not conducive because that might confuse my user, especially if they see two routes to it. So what I can do within this is where I go to develop as a teaching assistant, the item that I've imported, I can actually change its visibility. Now I'm going to change it to alias only. And just before I click save on that, I'm just going to come across here. You see here, it's still as a whole subject. The reason it's as a whole subject is because it's one of these three outlining bars here. I don't know, you can see it goes to behind. Hopefully there's a blue one there, the one I'm editing there, and the one underneath. But if I save this, and then I come back and refresh over on the right, you'll see now that it's gone. So the subject bar is gone because I've only got two subjects now, so it's gone down. So I've got introduction to guide and I've got the TA introductions, and then only within this, the YZ TA development. Obviously I've got the X there, apologies, but the TA development is there. And that's taken me to the developing as a teaching assistant, but it's hidden and placed within the space that I want it. And that's a really, really, it is a more complex feature, obviously, when you're starting to work with nuances and how you want to direct different things and set up different things, but that is the way that you do it. You set it up that way. So you make an import, then you make it an alias, and then you reveal and hide it. Now, the last thing I'm going to show you on this is, let's say my introduction to guide course is incomplete. As you see, it is. I've just brought things in. But on my portal, especially, this is really important when I'm going through the academic year and I'm adding things or I'm thinking about things or I'm refining things. I might not want people to see my introduction to guide course, but obviously I don't want to delete it. I don't want to just come to it all of a sudden and then switch it on. So what I do is I come to editing the subject, and what I can do is I can make it hidden. And once I've made the subject hidden, that's going to mean that I can work on it here, but nothing I do is going to be something that shows there. And you see here, we couldn't find the page because we've hidden it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to disappear, go back to the actual school portal, go back to preview the content, and ta-da, you'll see at the top, the intro to guide is gone. And that's where it's now become hidden. So I can no longer, as a user, access that. Now, there are some limitations in terms of changing access once people have got a code and signed up, etc., etc. So you aren't able to do it there. But as you're building the course or building the item before you've launched it, you can keep things hidden. Now, this is really, really good because if you're thinking about adding things or you're making your master plan isn't going to come to you overnight. You're not going to think, I know exactly what to do today. You might put in a subject, for example, and you might have something here where you're saying school improvement, for example. Gets the better of me again. And I will save that. And then within school improvement, I might start doing X, Y, Z, start building it out. And there you see, because I've added it, obviously it will come, school improvement. But obviously it's very disappointing for someone to come to here and find nothing. That's not how you want them to be at all. But while you're thinking about it, and obviously this can be over time, whenever you want to release it, it can be hidden in that sense up until you are ready. And again, if I go back now to TA introductions, I refresh and go back to the top of the page, I'm only back to TA introductions. And so I can switch and edit things on and off depending on what I want to reveal and what I show. And that is actually a very, very powerful feature because it helps you have overall control of who sees what and when you release stuff. Hope that was of interest.